Yes, everyone, what's going on? My name is Stephen Howson. This is your tactical preview for United versus Newcastle. Give us a like if you're well depressed at the minute. Give us a like if you think that we are sinking pretty quickly. It's fucking well depressing, isn't it? 2 draws, last 2 games. Arsenal in the league. I was going to say it felt better than drawing 0-0 away at AZ, but didn't really, did it? They both felt equally kind of depressing and a little bit just shit. Solskjaer said after the game that it was a good point away from home. They did beat Feyenoord 3-0. We didn't register a shot on target in the game. The last time we played Feyenoord, we beat them 4-0. Is this the level that United are now at? Have expectations been lowered so far that we... Look, sometimes in the cold, harsh light of day, a draw in Europe away is not a bad result. But no one can tell me that was a good performance. No one can say it was a good point. No one, if Solskjaer had come out and go, yeah, do you know what? We played crap, but a point isn't the worst thing in the world to come away with there. You kind of go, okay, he's got a point. But not registering a shot on target. Don't think I can ever accept that from a Manchester United team, to be honest with you. United should always be putting shots on target. Always. Not just because of what it would have meant for the group and for progression in the Europa League, but United needed a win on Thursday night. Needed a win. Because we're the ones with our backs against the wall. We're the one with a fan base losing its shit. We're the one with a team that's got this stupid record of not actually winning an away game since Paris, which I'm sure in the next half a dozen games goes, by the way. But why not get it out of the way early doors? Put a decent team in and go and fucking get rid of it. Newcastle got thrashed 5-0 by Leicester last time out, but they have taken a couple of decent scalps, one of them being against Spurs. And in that game, they only managed 19% possession. It was their only win of the season, and they currently sit 19th. Many people's team to be relegated. To put this in no uncertain terms, a point away from home at Newcastle would be a fucking dog shit result. I'll say that again for those who maybe didn't quite get that one. A point away at Newcastle in the league is not a good result at all. We have to go and get 3 points for what's going on in the league, for what's going on confidence-wise, for what's going on in every aspect of this football club. 3 points is a must. Now, I also don't think 3 points is going to come too quickly for you, to be honest, either. I think it's probably going to be a touch harder than we all think it might be. Remember, get your comments in and any questions and all that lot, and I'll get to them a little bit later on. My one to watch for this week is going to be Scott McTominay. Now, on the back of him winning Player of the Month, he's definitely cemented his place as probably as a first-choice player at Manchester United. I think it goes without saying at the very least. He did score a bit of a stunning goal to put United 1-up against Arsenal on Monday night before Aubameyang managed to pull it back after a complete comedy of errors in defence. He's registered more passes in the opposition's half than anyone else in the United team. He also has the joint most completed dribbles with 10 so far this season, which tells you everything about what we need to know. 3.8 tackles and interceptions per 90 minutes and over 80% pass completion. He's doing a good job. I think there's levels to be pulled out of his game, and I still question the creativity that comes from him, but he's doing a good job. So I wouldn't want to pour anything on him apart from praise at the moment and just say, keep doing what you're doing, mate, because you're one of the few that we don't generally have to worry about in the squad. So keep doing that. Predicted 11 time. Now, this has been an absolute nightmare, innit? And this is where I see the change coming, because we've got to go to a 3-man midfield. We've got to change something. You can't just keep doing the same thing and going, why the fuck aren't we getting different results when we do the same thing week in, week out? So that's what I want to go for. Midfield 3. If only just to push some midfielders further up the pitch and closer to the attackers. Now, the back 4 that I've gone with, keeper's the keeper. Wan-Bissaka, if he's fit, has to play. Simple as. Maguire, Lindelof and Axel. Because I thought Axel was very good against Arsenal at left back. The issue that you're going to have with this defence is that these 2 fullbacks are going to offer basically fuck all in the final third. So if that's the case, the serious amount of creativity needs to happen with the forward six, which is why you've got to switch it to a three-man midfield rather than a two, just because it pushes those 2-8s further up. Now, as you can see, those 2-8s are not the two most creative footballers in the world. That is not Xavi and Iniesta around about 2009. That's Nemanja Matic and Fred around about 2019. Do not expect them to be pulling out fucking worldies. But this is what we're dealing with at the moment. We are dealing with a couple of players that are like, well, best of a bad bunch. I guess that's what we're going to have to throw in because there's nothing else that we can throw in. That's a nightmare. Left wing, James, think he's been decent there. Up front, Marcus Rashford. Hopefully he can pull a goal out or something there. On the right-hand side, Andreas Pereira. Only because nobody else can play there. Because I would not be picking Andreas Pereira first choice at all at Manchester United. It just shows the complete lack of everything else that we've got going on at the moment. And that's a nightmare. Because for me, Andreas Pereira is just not good. He's just not good. That's my starting 11. My first goal scorer, I'm going with Dan James on this one. I think Dan James has got the potential to get us a goal. And on the Betfair exchange, you'll be able to get 8.2 on that, which will return 82 quid for Dan James as the first goal scorer. So if you fancy that, link will be in the description. And come and get in the mix on that one. I think Dan James has got a real good chance of doing that. My other bet for today, I'm going to go for Manchester United to win 2-1. And I know you're thinking, Jesus, that's a bit mad. Look, it's pretty good odds. Newcastle are garbage. So this is what I'm hoping for. Manchester United to win 2-1. A tenner on that at 9.8 returns 98 quid. If you fancy that, if you fancy the other one, the first goal scorer one, link is in the description. Please be gamble aware and make sure you're over 18 and all of that good stuff as well. Let me know what you got with the questions. And I'll see what you guys are saying. 0-0 against Newcastle for sure, says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Victor says, I do not remember one good performance this season. Not one dominant one, I could give you that one. Dolo, right wing, some people are saying. Also some people saying injured. Matic, a striker, says Rick. What a tragic lineup we're stuck with, says Daniel. Trust me, mate. It really is, isn't it? Pereira is promising. He needs time like McSauce, right attitude and work rate. Yeah, but his decision-making is terrible, mate. There's times when he's had people that he could have laid off. There's times when he had things he could do with the ball and he's just chosen the wrong thing to do time and time again. I really think he's got to improve that. And I wouldn't have picked him if I had anybody else that I could have done. Tuanzebe seems great. Tuanzebe's he's got to end up playing at centre half ultimately. Rashford right wing and Greenwood striker, says number 9 scrum. I don't like Rashford on the right, and I'd be very shocked to see Greenwood given another 90 minutes after he played on Thursday. Young lad, I think that it's probably be very, very tough for him to play another full game. Patreon questions. Yes, I'm going to head over to Patreon in a second. If you're interested, this channel is supported by the top folks on Patreon. I don't really talk about it enough during streams, but if you're interested in that, in the description below, you can come and find out a little bit more about Patreon and what it's all about in there. You get exclusive questions, you get some behind-the-scenes stuff, a weekly podcast that's just questions for the Patreon. And this week I've been talking to them about, do we do some regular five-a-side stuff where just once a month we'll hire out a pitch and we'll go and play football with everyone. I think that got quite a good response, so I think that's something we're going to try and look to do before the end of this month. Maybe we'll do it every international break just to give us something to do. So I'm going to have Cameron looking into when we can do that, and then I'll get some dates out to you. But if you want to come and support the channel and everything that we're trying to do here with Stretford Paddock on my channel, and we're looking at something at the moment which is going to cost me an absolute arm and a leg, but I guarantee you it puts us right at the very top in terms of quality of what we're trying to do, what anybody's trying to do with fan-generated content, and I guarantee it'll be worth it once we do it as well. So if you're interested in finding out anything more about what that is and all the rest of it, then come and hit us up in Patreon. Link is in the description below. That being said, let's get some of the questions in. Garner instead of Matic says just bring it. I would love to sit here and say, yeah, that's the one. Or even Dylan Levitt, to be honest. Just try him. What's the worst that could happen? I just don't believe he's going to do that. And realistically, I probably shouldn't have even put Axel at left back. He's probably going to play Ashley Young, isn't he? And he certainly probably will if Wan-Bissaka's still out. But this is what it is, isn't it? TC says, our Newcastle a big club. Not for me. No, I don't buy into that myth of all in the entire Northeast. Hotbed of football. All these towns and cities that have only got one club in them. Nah. Am I sick and tired? No, I'm very tired. I'm not sick, though. Pretty good shape. Clayton says, why hasn't Jimmy Garner been given a chance? Surely he's better than Matic or Fred. I think he's definitely due a chance. I don't know what the hold-up is now. Certainly don't know what the hold-up is now. I'll tell you what is promising, though, is how well Brandon Williams has adapted to playing in the first team. That gives me a lot of hope that somebody like Garner or Levitt or Laird could also pop into the first team and do as good as he's done. I mean, Brandon's got a fantastic attitude anyway, and I think that helps a lot. We will see. I believe he will buy one player in January, says Nico. Who would I target? It's less about who I would target and more about what position. I do need to do that, and I did say I'd do that over international break, didn't I? So we'll have a look at some players that we can bring in that would fix that. I need to have a bit more in-depth look at it. In my head, I'm thinking we need more in midfield. Whether that's an Ander Herrera-sized hole or whether that's someone a bit more creative, I've got to have a look and think about it first. Brian says, since Ollie took Matter off for McTominay when chasing a game against AZ, what do I think he's... Do I think he's looking for him to be more attacking with Matic holding in Pogba's absence? Maybe, but he didn't really show it, did he? I mean, that just shows the lack of depth that we've got. We're like, right, we're chasing a goal, lads. Scott McTominay, do you want to go warm up? That's embarrassing, isn't it? Dan James Smile, since we are stuck with these players until at least January, how do we improve things? Well, as I said in the preview just a second ago, I go with a three-man midfield. Just change that up a bit. That's what he started off his reign with. It's not as simple as just let's just play three-man midfield and it'll all be perfect. But I think just changing that and change the angles and the lines that some of those midfielders take up in midfield, and I think that makes a little difference. For me, at least, it makes a little difference because it just pushes some players further up. The issue is it's pushing up Matic and Freddie, who I don't really believe can create too much, but there's more bodies in midfield, and that can't necessarily be a bad thing. Milan, when the Oppo have the ball, all I see us doing is sitting off. Really? There was some real good press from... If we can actually praise the team when they do the right thing without just blanket panning everybody, because it's not good analysis to do that, is it? There were times last night when United was going man for man and they made it really difficult for AZ with a press. But I think there's still got to be... That was 4 or 5 people. There needs to be 6 and 7 people and the rest of the team filling in the gaps elsewhere for if and when that dodgy pass comes. The press was doing okay. You know, we kept a clean sheet on the road in Europe. That's not the worst thing ever. It's the chance creation and the lack of goals which kills me. Mel, do I think it's time for Garner? As Fred and Matic can't thread a ball through the lines, partner with McTominay would be good for this game. I don't think it's going to happen against Newcastle. I mean, I'd be delighted but shocked if it did. Will we get a shot on target this weekend? I'm going to put my balls on the line and say yes. Gordon says, thinking back to the 0-0 against Liverpool last season, was that the game that really derailed Ollie? Confidence was booming, should have won that game. We were flying, but the injuries in the first half, particularly to Rashford, seem to have affected us ever since. It's hard to try and dissect where this has all gone tits up. The sort of crossroads of the Liverpool game, Paris away, and getting the job full time all sort of converge at once, don't they? And it just never recovered from those things. But getting him the job full time probably changed nothing in the eyes of everybody internally. So what the fuck happened? Am I tired? Very tired, brother. Do United practice set pieces? I would think so. I am going to be looking into a little bit more on the warm-ups that we do, because I don't think what we do in the warm-up is right. It's who I can talk to about it. That's what I need to do. Mike says, everything above Ollie blows, but why can't Ollie make tactical changes like a new formation? Hopefully we see that. Nambe, do you think we'll see Garner or Timbo soon? Timbo might have actually saved his United career by being injured, because I'm certain he was gone in the summer. Absolutely certain. But if he can come in the right time, while Ollie's still finding who he can play, who he can trust, who he can throw into the mix, then maybe Timbo could just sneak his way in and go and grab a place. Timbo under Louis van Gaal was absolutely sensational. And sometimes players just can't do it for other managers. The things that they ask him to do just doesn't quite work and all the rest of it. So it's really difficult to sort of say for definite, oh yeah, Timbo could come into this and smash it. He could come into it and smash it the way he did in that first season under Louis, or he could come into it and just do nothing. And he could have fell off the cliff, and those couple of years that he's really had out of it might have really affected him now. But we've got nothing to lose by trying, do it? And I'm sure he's going to be seeing that in the mixer. Here we go. I've seen this agenda start today. Someone called Minnie says, Carrick, McKenna are not good enough to be assistants. Okay, my friend. On what basis have you got that? Now, Michael Carrick is inexperienced, right? Kieran McKenna's not. Kieran McKenna was considered the brightest coaching talent in this country when he was at Spurs, which is why Manchester United recruited him to be the manager of our under-18s. He spent, I think it was 2 years with our under-18s, in which he won the league with our under-18s. They underperformed in the cup, but the football our under-18s played was absolutely sensational. Sensational football. The difference in what our under-18s played was vast and noticeable. So don't just pretend that Kieran McKenna, because he's part of this regime that currently isn't working, he's doing nothing. From everything I hear, the coaching sessions that Kieran McKenna puts on are top draw. Everybody at the club very happy with them. So for me, I think you're probably going to be seeing the impact of what happens, but these things don't just happen overnight. Do you know how little training time there is for players at this level? United would have flown back from Holland late last night. Today they'll come in and do a recovery. They'll probably watch a little bit of tape. Tomorrow they will train ahead of the Newcastle game, and that is it. Glenn says, how long will Ollie get? I don't want him out, but this is shit. How long until enough is enough? Look, you have to... There has to be some sort of knowledge of what's going on behind the scenes. When you consider how long Sir Alex took, and you can say football's changed if you want, you can say the game's moved on, but fundamentally, if it took Sir Alex as long as it took him, and he was spending British record amounts of money on players, then anybody else needs longer than Sir Alex, because Sir Alex was the greatest manager the world's ever seen. So how can you not give someone as long as the greatest ever took to do it? I don't think he'll get that amount of time, that 4 or 5 years, to win something, and even if then it's only an FA Cup, he's not going to get that time. S. Jewett, I read on Tribal Football, well, that's a great source, that senior players are complaining about McKenna. Who? Who? Come on, who? Because people would come and say it. People would come out and say, I don't like it, or I don't like this, or I don't like that. And they're not. Chris says, support the club no matter the results. Ollie needs his chance, blend a team and style together. He needs reinforcements. He needed reinforcements. I thought we needed 5 players at the end of the season, and then we sold more. We were always going to need more. Jack the Skipper says they're rubbish coaches. Oh, right. Is that from your extensive knowledge of training with them? Is it, Jack the Skipper? Show me fucking ball bag. Jesus Christ. Should Brandon Williams be second choice behind Shaw? Brandon Williams, if we can get serious here for a minute now, Luke Shaw's got some deficiencies in his game, and it's fucking annoying that Luke Shaw will always play well, get a contract, and then regress back to these previous mediocre times. What I never really liked was when Luke Shaw went and lost a load of timber and was like, right, I'm fit now. Hang on, mate. Where the fuck has your professionalism been for all the time that you've been getting paid 130 grand a week for Manchester United, that you've even got out of shape in the first place? I question the decision making of having your fucking mates as your living chef who's got no fucking credentials as a nutritionalist. Mate, for the money you're on, you can literally just pay. There's so many companies around Manchester that will just fucking pay. You could get a live-in chef with the money that you're on and make amazing, fucking really tasty, healthy meals. Easily. There's no excuse for a professional. Look, you go, you're fat. Yeah, I'm a fucking YouTuber. I'm not a professional fucking footballer on hundreds of thousands. Where's the professionalism? Because I'll tell you, when I was playing professional sport, I was fucking shredded. It was only in the last few years that I've been riding a desk and drinking Red Bull. There's no excuse when you're a professional athlete to fucking be out of shape or not be prepared. So the fact that Luke Shaw does get out of shape and does come in mediocre condition, I think that Brandon Williams has a very real chance of overtaking Luke Shaw in the pecking order by the end of this season. And I'm not saying he definitely will. I'm saying there's definitely a chance that he could do that. Brandon's not perfect. He's an absolute fucking hothead, although I consider that an attribute rather than a deficit. He's good defensively. He's good going forward. He's got an excellent work rate and a decent football brain. We could do a lot worse. And if he ends up just as our backup, we could definitely do a lot worse. I'm fucking delighted for Brandon to get the opportunity that he's just got. And I know the way he feels about the club and the way he plays. There you go. Ross Finnegan says Howson was shredded. Yeah. When I was playing rugby for Great Britain, I was fucking underweight. They told me to put some timber on, which I fucking did, by the way. You're welcome. Not stopped. JC says he has a bad first touch. Who does? Hoping to see a change in formation, just something to keep people guessing. Yeah, when we play the same team, regardless of what the fucking opposition's going to do, and do you know what? Do you know when you can play the same team week in, week out, when your team's fucking banging, and you go, I don't really have to worry about the opposition because our 11's fucking class. We're not that. We do have to adapt to the opposition, and if we don't, that's really arrogant. Psychedelic Khan says, no offence, but Howson was shredded is like McTominay thinking he's the best footballer ever lived. No, not really, mate, because you see me at 30 fucking 5 on YouTube does not mean that's what I was like at 18, 19 and 20, does it? Idiot. Project Youth is a myth. They aren't even good right now. Arsenal and Chelsea have much better youth. No, Arsenal and Chelsea have much older youth. There is a difference. The fact that all of these United youngsters are actually in the England squads does that not tell you that they're the best of their age group? Because it should do. Williams needs to bulk up. He's also 18. It'll come. Ollie is to blame for the rubbish lack of tactical organisation the team shows week in, week out. Of course. Ollie is not completely blameless in this. I think Ollie has been dealt a bum fucking hand by the board, by them not giving him reinforcements. But there are things that happen week in, week out when it comes to team selection, tactical lineup, formation, silly, weird little tactical things like even the penalty taker thing. I put that on the manager. They shouldn't go onto the pitch thinking we'll figure it out on the day. No, he should know. You're taking penalties because you take our fucking penalties. If he's not on the pitch, you take the penalties. There's no excuse to be unprepared for that kind of thing. There's, how did we allow Neves on the edge of the box against Wolves to be unmarked? You watch 5 minutes of Wolves and you go, that Neves likes to shoot from the edge of the box and he's not bad at it either. And then we allow him to take a shot there. Not acceptable. There's things that are definitely Ollie's fault. But it's not 100% Ollie's fault. Matic and Fred can't pass the ball 10 yards. How can we blame Ollie for this? Bit of an exaggeration, but yes. Ollie needs to go back to the tactics that landed him the permanent position. What position was I in rugby? I was a loose forward. Who would be my first signing in January? Like I said, I'll get to that. Someone says, give us a fucking photo. This photo's on my Instagram, mate. Go and have a look. Why do I defend this manager so much? I defend every manager we've had. Because that's what I will do. Chelsea youth have actually played men's football. Abraham had 2 good months in the Premier League. Context. Yeah, for starters, Tammy Abraham also had a full season where he played, I think, 34 games and scored 5 goals. So, was he shit then, but now he's not? Or was he maybe in a bad team at the time and also needed to adapt his game? Then he had a very good loan at Aston Villa, which helped him develop and grow as a person and as a man. You can't compare what he's doing at 21, 22 to what Mason Greenwood's doing just because they've played the same amount for their clubs currently. It doesn't work like that. The penalty thing has a logic. It's meant for two mature adults to decide who's feeling most confident. I'm not sure I agree on that, mate, to be honest. I think the manager should have his penalty takers listed. I think that's how you should do it. All the set pieces should be decided prior to going into the game. It's the manager's job to make the team better than the sum of its parts. Okay, but that's like asking for magic a lot of the time, isn't it? This is, I think people would agree, this is the worst Manchester United team that we are able to field in the last 30 years. Right or wrong? Let me know in the comments. Do you agree this is the... Right, yes, I agree this is the worst team, or no, I disagree. And you tell me what season there was a worse team in the last 30 years. So if this is the worst team in the last 30 years, why are you expecting better results out of the worst team we've had? Surely if it's the worst team, by logic, that dictates that you're going to get the worst results you've ever had. Right, I'm going to leave it there. But before we go, I'm going to give you my 2 bets again. So remember that first bet that I'm going to go for was Dan James to be first goal scorer. If you fancy that, link is in the description below. And my second bet is Manchester United to win 2-1. And if you fancy that one, the link is in the description below. Come and check it out on Betfair. Make sure you're 18 and over, gamble responsibly, and all that good stuff. I'll be on Stretford Paddock on Sunday for the watch-along. Please come and join us over there. It's fucking great. We don't talk about the football whatsoever because clearly we don't want to kill ourselves with depression. But if you're interested in coming and checking that out, then please come and join us over on Stretford Paddock Sunday. Well, about 10-15 minutes before the game kicks off. See you later.